What are you thinking? Okay, I see. I'm gonna switch around. Okay. And he still has it on. Which one of you did that? Hi, this is Keith. Today, Skype and I are going to be doing section 2 of the Ozark Highlands Trail from White Rock Mountain to Cherry Bend with one stay overnight. And we thought we'd take you along again and continue to tell you about something that happened one time. Slow down. Halfway across the field, I felt the shift. Like the start of an avalanche, it began slowly, but the potential energy of the hay converted quickly. A cascade of bales poured off the back of the wagon, including the ones most important to me. Conventional rule wisdom for this situation was to jump away and avoid entanglement. So that's what I did. I jumped into a darkness that stole my sense of place and my understanding of my relationship with the ground. I knew it was rushing to greet me, but I didn't know when we would meet. It didn't really matter when it found me. I wasn't going to be ready. When it did arrive, I heard the crack, rolled twice, and ended up seated, with my left arm cradling a really crooked right one. The diagnosis was pretty straightforward. I leaned back and felt that rush of fear and urgency. Shouts went back and forth between the rest of the work party, and pretty soon everyone stood in a circle around me. They took turns saying "ooh" each time the beam of our only flashlight fell on my arm. Hey, that's better. I think we're going this way. This way. Okay. Good. Thank you. After a huddle, a plan took shape. Tim and I would begin a trek across this field and a corner of another on an angle to reach a gate and a car that was out there, somewhere. Riding the tractor was considered, but its trailer had just puked and created the perfect alluvial fan of bales off its backside. Waiting for that ride did not seem urgent enough. The flashlight stayed with the tractor, so its light swung back to the scene of the midnight drama, with only half a crew. Tim and I began our march. My eyes needed time to adjust. While they prepared, they just stared at the ground, hoping that eventually something would materialize. My legs were more reckless, and cared nothing about rods and cones. They took off into the dark. They felt their way along the ground, avoiding surprises even a flat hayfield could offer. Soon the eyes began to catch up, and the ground transformed from something mostly just understood to something actually faintly seen. My overconfident legs took bolder steps. After a number of these bold steps, it occurred to me that I should have better assessed whether I was a good candidate for this walk across the pasture in the corner of another, carrying my broken arm. This, combined with an evening of the hardest work I'd ever endured, made me a poor choice for this job. I wasn't going to make it. The legs that were so eager to begin the trick now just wanted to quit. Each step brought up those shocky feelings that wanted out and wanted control. My face, which had been covered with 98.6 degrees sweat, was now cool, and I didn't need a light to know that I was the same color as the Haint I had envisioned seeing all evening. I needed to sit. I needed to breathe. As I took myself to the ground, I gave Tim a quick summary of all the reasons why this was a good idea, and I rolled onto my back. I stared straight up at a handful of stars that could only be seen by looking through the thinnest portion of the mist. They gave me a sense of place that had been missing all evening. For a moment, everything stopped, and there was a timelessness I appreciated. Maybe this was what that book spoke about. The book a year before I had read half of and comprehended less. Transcendental Meditation. How this book fell into the hands of a 14-year-old son of a Baptist preacher in Lower Arkansas is still a mystery. Being a skimmer by nature and lazy as well, I digested its concepts and considered the rest too much work. Too lazy to even come up with a mantra. But I did pick up that the timelessness we often associate with a place is really more of a space. I laid on my back and stared straight up. Tim quickly figured out that I was fully committed to this new strategy. He began a slow and deliberate jog back to the light, while I sunk deeper into my bed. It wasn't long before the sound of the ever-running tractor told me it was on the move. Lifting my head, I could see it swing my way, pushing its dome of light forward like a slow rolling ball. I dropped my head and wished it a slow trip, not looking forward to an intrusion into my sacred space. Pretty soon I heard my name being called. I had the advantage of seeing the tractor approach. The tractor had no clue where I laid, staring at the stars. I should have given a shout back, if nothing else just to ease their fear of running over my broken body in the darkness. But I held my ground, until the sphere touched me. Then I rose and revealed myself like a conscripted Haint, assigned to rise when a glance meets the light. Above me, the light closed my window through the mist. From that point, it became a series of rides. A tractor ride to a car ride to a hospital, and an ambulance ride to a bigger hospital. All culminating in a surgery and a 2.5-month relationship with the cast. A relationship which, like the cast, deteriorated with each day. After 4 decades, the scar on my forearm is unnoticed by most and is my eye's only reminder of that evening. Everything else comes from memories. Some memories like this one hold such detail that you think they must have greater value. The trauma and the bit of self-reflection that came with it provided a snapshot of who I was at that moment to file away. I can say that inclusion and comparison are less important now than then. Inclusion has pretty much fallen off the screen, and my comparisons are limited to myself, using these snapshots pulled out during long walks. Do you want to get rid of that pack? Ozark, don't get in the water, man. It is going to be cold all night. Alright, free.